The PGL Major Kraków 2017, day number 3 is well underway. And it's elimination day for 2 teams, at least going home. Vega Squadron have become the first team to leave the Major, and we're about to find out who the second team is, as well as, later this evening, of course, 2 teams will head to the quarterfinals as they make their way to 3-0. Plenty of Counter-Strike to come before then. We're back at our panel once more as we move into Flipside versus FaZe. A massive game for both teams as they attempt to try and stay in the Major, and we're back with Sponge and Moses once more. Sponge, this is hard to believe that we end up with these 2 teams on day 3 fighting for their lives to stay in the Major.
One of the 2 teams.
Well, FaZe for sure. We didn't expect them to be there, but Flipside, how have they ended up here as well?
There's 3 things that are certain in life. It's been
Don't be
said.
mean.
Taxes, death, and Flipside in a Major, right?
Yes.
So these things just happen, and the thing is, they were relatively unseen for quite a while, right?
Yep.
Flipside, they were playing some online stuff. They didn't do too good in the Mountain Dew League and all that. They were pretty average, to be fair. But they've obviously been working hard because they've come here and they've had some, okay-ish matches so far, and obviously they qualified for the Major again. So we need to give them props there. But before we get started in this discussion, there's one thing we need to do. This needs to happen. Can we put the Markelov-Orping discussion in the bin, right? I want it to be gone. I'm fed up of hearing Lurpus and Anders and all these people.
It's madness, isn't it?
He doesn't want to be an AWPer. He's happy to be a rifler. He's doing a sick job as a support player. Let's just go with that storyline.
I'm going to accept this on the premise that you're upset about it and then therefore emotional and not thinking straight
I don't like the
or logical.
thing.
But however, I will point to evidence of yesterday.
He did pick up an AWP at one
point.
point. Listen, he's just
yesterday.
Listen, it's not going to happen. Everyone just needs to get past it because I am with Chad on this train. We can start the hype train of just let's just drop it now.
I bought tickets to the Anders and Lurpus show many months ago.
5 years now, 4 years. It's over.
He doesn't want to be an AWPer. Just let the guy be a rifler. He's really good at lurking in certain scenarios, right? He has a very good understanding of the game. He knows how to apply himself and always be effective. Let's talk about that. Let's hype him up for that. He was a legend, sure. All right, but
no. He is a legend.
Okay.
He's not dead, Chad.
He's not dead.
Come on, man.
He is a legend, but now, he should be... let's talk about how the legacy's moving on. But this man right here, Blade, as an
he's busy downloading his tactics right now for this game.
Yeah, something like that. He was hanging back yesterday. I saw him just chilling out, watching the demos and stuff, having a good time.
Got a Google document.
Probably wasn't a good time, was it? But
no, probably not.
Blade is like a really smart in-game leader, and you look at the things that have happened to Flipside so far in this tournament. There was like versus Navi yesterday, where Simple just comes out Ivy and kills 4 guys. That was a pretty big blunder from the Flipside guys in the sense of the way they approached that round. But at the same time, if Simple's going to come out and kill 4 dudes...
I mean, that's always going to be the criticism of this team, right, is they don't have the talent to necessarily stop that on a frequent basis. When you go up against the more higher-skilled teams, those things will happen no matter how tactically prepared you are. I think I mean, it's kind of cool. I put this out on Twitter, and it is kind of cool in a way, but one of the scary things that this team has to do just because of the style of this team, because they're heavy into anti-stratting, is they have to take that risk of allowing teams to play a map that they want to play. That's one of their better maps, because they want to look into it. They want to do the whole judo thing where you use their own weight against them, and you're giving a team a strong map and just saying, since you're so good on this, you likely haven't changed anything since we watched the demo. Right. So they're playing like you're either a step behind in that sense or a step ahead, and it doesn't always work. But it's just a big risk to take, and they just have to do it because that's their big strength as a team with Blade.
That's the start. We're going to get more from both of you in just a moment. We're going to move on to FaZe as well, up against it, and we didn't think we would see them at this point, and I'm sure the next man you're about to see on screen didn't think he would be here right now either. A man who puts family first as well as his Counter-Strike. This is Rain.
Playing football as a child was my main passion and something I did 6-7 hours every day. I pretty much lived on a football field, and if anyone wanted to reach me or anything, that's where they had to find me. Everything ended with an injury in my hip. I got mistreated for 2 years. I said that I wouldn't be able to play and it would always hurt. So every time I was playing and I could play for 10-15 minutes at a time, I always had like a fire burning through my hip, and it was at that time that I said to myself that I can't do this anymore, and that's how it all ended.
he loved it. He played it all the time, every second, until he was 7 or 8, I think. Then he started to play the games as well.
I think I started playing computer games. I was really young. It was when I lived in my hometown. At about 8 or 9, I was watching my brother play 1.4 or 1.5. And if I got lucky, my mom would let me play for 15 minutes a day. I think I've never been as satisfied as I am today with the team I played for. I trust my teammates completely during whatever they do. And I feel like every single one of us can win a round. And having a captain like Kerrigan especially, leading the troops, makes it so much easier playing for all of us. And I think we're going to be the best team in the world. So during the days that's really stressful and I don't have that a lot of time, I like to cook food to calm down a bit. I want to have an hour a day to cook in between practices. And something I find nice and gives me a lot of energy while I play is a good steak with potatoes, for example.
About this life he is living now, I think he has a very busy life, but very amazing and joyful, and he loves it. So you can see that, but I can't quite understand it. It's a mixed feeling about his life, but I'm very proud of him, of course.
The biggest upside for me to be a professional player is that you're able to see the entire world. You travel, you get to meet a lot of new people. You get to sit on a big stage with tens of thousands watching you.
Checking from behind, over the line, all right! He shuts down, overhand shot! It's an ace to finish the half!
You always have a rush when you play on a stage. You just feel the crowd's energy, and one of the best feelings I know.
Yeah, it's okay, Rainsman. We don't get it after time either.
His house, I'm so jealous. That is so
it's a lovely
awesome,
area, isn't it?
Yeah. Just a little house out
I like
there
the fact that when you see when
by
it
the
kind
water.
of the kind of camera pans back out and you kind of see this remote house on the edge of an island, you kind of go. The first thing we all thought of was, how do you get internet there?
Yeah, right. It's pretty sweet. I loved it. I mean, you know this, Chad, as well. Like this is why Counter-Strike players are always so competitive, because like half of us are former athletes that have been like injured in some way, and it's like
because we've been
you
injured.
have to find a way to get that competitive drive going, and everyone's kind of turned to Counter-Strike, which is pretty cool in a way.
In a way.
Did you play any sports?
That was terrible.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I was into like the beach and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
That surprises me.
Oh,
amazing.
No,
yeah. Not really.
I think the biggest takeaway, not from that video, from FaZe at the moment, is mentality. I think, I don't know, this is just looking at the team, I think they're mentally in tatters right now. You have Kerrigan and you have Kia, who are not performing very well, and those guys are very pivotal because you have Kia, who's the rock of the team, and like on bomb site holds, and then you have Kerrigan, who he needs to be making reads, he needs to be making those good calls because they're somewhat, I guess, streaky and sporadic in the way he does it. It's not too built. He has star players who he can use, and it's like, hey, Nico, I see a gap. Go here and get 2 kills. You know, it's not as simple as that, but that's basically the way that I think this team kind of functions. And if they're not playing a brawly style of Counter-Strike where they're confident to take the jewels, they're not playing the FaZe brand. And I don't think that they can't be strategic. I just think that that's the way they need to start games.
Yeah.
And then,
obviously, the video with Rain was shot before we came out here to the major, and he said it critically in there. He thinks this team can be the best in the world. He has utmost faith in his teammates, complete trust. That takes time to come together, and yet over the last 2, that is not the kind of team we've seen. So where is this? How has this changed so quickly?
Listen, I'm glad he has trust in them, because he's been the only player that showed up in their matches for about the past 4 maps that they've played. The last 2 against SK and Cologne, and then here so far at the major, which is terrifying. And yeah, I agree with Chad. I think there's mental issues, and listen, we've heard some of these players at times have talked in interviews about how they've put it out that necessarily find practice all that efficient for them. They get their best practice when they're playing official matches and everything. And I don't think you can, even with the amount of officials that we have in Counter-Strike in the online leagues, I don't think you can exist like that. I think there has to be that efficient practice, and I think we're starting to see some of the product of that. And going into this match, if I'm Kerrigan, the biggest thing I'm doing is I'm probably buddying Kiyoshima up, especially on the defensive sides, with someone like Nico. I'm calling faster rotates to help Kiyoshima, because you need him to check into games. You need, I mean, he was one of the big time players when they went on their streak, when they won Star Ladder, when they were getting second place at these events. He was a massive performer.
He's quiet, wasn't he? Yesterday
he's been quiet for a while now. Yeah, this major's been atrocious for him. So I think you buddy him up with someone like Nico, maybe a Rain, maybe an Alo is over there with the AWP to support him, or depending on the map, whoever's going to be his rotator, and you just say, listen, I want you with him more than normal, just because you don't want him to feel like he's getting punished early on in a match and then have that kind of slip away, because that's when Kiyoshima in his head will just be like, okay, it's happening again. I'm just having a really rough time. I can't get anything going. I'm in this slump. You want someone there to help him get some confidence with some successful bomb site holds, some defenses that throw off the attackers, and that's kind of how you get him back into the game. But you need to do something here.
They've had, like, let's be honest about the teams they've played so far right now. They played big in the first round. They should have been big, right?
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes. On paper, they should have been big. And then even on paper, they should have been Mouse Sports. Even though we have seen a better form from Mouse Sports recently, they should have won that game as well. It was overtime on Train. So it's 2 teams in a row that they should have beaten, and here's a third, right? You should be saying FaZe are the heavy favorites here. If we're going to sit here and say, we think Flipsid can win, then that means that we think that these FaZe guys have completely checked out of this tournament, and I don't think they're like that. I think, now that their back is up against the wall, we'll see them fire up and get stuck into the game, It's the same thing happened in Cologne. They were struggling a bit, and then they had some tougher matches, and they bounced back.
All right, we're into the Vetos right now, and
Flipside
have removed Cobble and Cash, which has given Kerrigan a little bit of time to think.
I think it'll probably be Train. Like Jason was saying,
Yes.
I was just because you wanted to end up on a map that a team thinks they're good on, right? So FaZe were pretty confident on Train. Seeing them go to something like that, never mind. We'll stop that.
Maybe they've lost that confidence a little bit. No, but the nice thing for
left.
Yes.
The nice thing for FaZe is that you have like 4 maps where they have only been beaten by like SK and Astralis coming into this event. So I mean, they have plenty of places they can go, and that would make things tough for Flipside. So maybe I think FaZe might be trying to throw a curveball to him a little bit.
All right, we end up with Inferno and Mirage remaining. I think Flipside would love Mirage here, wouldn't they?
I think that's a map
for them,
where a player
rather than for FaZe.
Like we saw good things from Electronic against Fnatic on that map. I think that's a map where World
Liquid at the qualifier.
World Edit can actually have a lot of impact. He's a very streaky AWPer. I don't think the way that he plays very high risk.
Yeah, they're going to go to the Mirage.
I think this just opens them up to allow their stars to roll. When we're saying that against a team like FaZe, who are just a star-studded lineup. So Electronic and World Edit are going to have really big games, assuming that everybody on FaZe shows up like they're meant to.
Listen, this is actually, I think, I don't know if I'm one of the only people who think this, but I think there's a real chance here that Flipside upsets. I know, the whole thing, the backs against the wall phase is 0-2 now. They come into this fired up. They come in clicked on, but you can't it's not just flipping a switch like that, right? Sure. You can't just have a tournament where your focus is just lost and you get to just get battered and beat up and make mistakes and then just come in and be like, all right, here we are.
Chad's not a believer. I just want to throw this into the mix as well. Kerrigan tweeted this morning when he got up, this is some 3 hours ago now, today, I need to step up as a leader. I need to lead this team to perfection. Every round can be our last round this major.
Yeah, that's true. I've had tournaments before where the team has gone in and we've just been trying to play like a brand of Counter-Strike that we practiced and it didn't work for the tournament, and then I've just thrown the book out the window, done my speech about being a gorilla, driving a bus and being an idiot. Everyone gets fired up, laughs at me. Everyone's going. I'm yelling from the get-go, and it's a different team.
Well, we're not going to do huddles again today, are we, after yesterday's fail?
Who, us?
Yeah. Well, I failed yesterday.
Did you guys have a fail?
We sort of...
I missed that.
Did you do a huddle on the desk?
I was basically the global supreme of terrible huddles.
Oh, why'd you do that?
I'm not sure. It's something I regret.
It's unfortunate for you guys, really, isn't it?
I just had the gorilla speech. I was starting to get motivated and thinking, wow, this is it's coming. We're going to get a little bit more from both of you before we move on, but we do have an interview with Robban from FaZe, who is with Sir Scoots right now.
Thank you, Red Eye. Yes, I am with Robban here with, obviously, FaZe. Big change, breaking news. Keo just told me that these guys are swapping roles. You're going to actually play, and he's going to be the coach. First off, dramatic change. How's that going to work out for you?
Nothing special, man. It's gonna be like always. You know, I'm ready. I've been waiting for this opportunity, so now it's time.
Yeah, he seems very excited to stand behind you and yell and scream, so maybe a little payback on his end. We're not going to talk too much about your earlier matches. Obviously, the guys on the desk have talked about it. You're starting down 0-2, and that's not quite a pattern, but you guys seem to always kind of start slow in this format. You know, you go 1-1, now you're 0-2. Obviously not intentionally, but when you end up in this situation, like, how do you kind of reset yourself? Because obviously you're do or die now. Like, how do you deal with that pressure? How do they deal with it?
I mean, we're used to this by now. Unfortunately, we have been struggling in the group stage games before as well, in all past tournaments. Now it's just do or die, as you said, and we just have to play our best, full focus, and take one match at a time.
And talking about Flipside, obviously very much a team that does their homework, a lot of anti-stratting depending, you know, they don't have a coach here, those kind of things. How do you guys look at playing them? And obviously the map is Mirage, if those folks just tuning in. So how do you feel about Mirage, and how do you feel about their techniques of when they kind of look at what you guys do?
Well, Mirage is probably our best map results right now. We have been preparing a lot of maps against Flipside, and I mean, I know that they had Anstrand in the past. We don't look too much into that. We try to play our own game, and yeah, that's how we're gonna win.
Yeah, because sometimes if you worry about they know your technique and you try to change it, and then they don't abide by that, then you've kind of screwed your own game up, right? So just play your own game and try to beat them that way.
Exactly.
All right, well, good luck. You know, hopefully we keep seeing you. Obviously, we don't want either of you to leave the tournament. One of you is going to go. So good luck to you, and we'll talk to you hopefully tomorrow even.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. That's going to do it, Red Eye. Thank you, guys.
A couple of old 1.6 legends chatting away about Counter-Strike to each other. So Scoots and Robban there, of course, he knows all about winning and losing in big tournaments in his time in 1.6. He's going to be the coach today and hopefully get his team over the line. We're almost ready. The players are ready to go head-to-head. It's Flipside versus FaZe. The winner stays. The loser is done for another major. Let's head over to our commentary team of Dan and James.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, this is crazy. How has it come down to this? I mean, what do you make of it, James? I mean, it's hard to bet against FaZe, but they do seem to struggle in group stages. But do they just struggle until they're knocked out at this point? I mean, that can't be the reality, surely.
I think Flipside are a gatekeeper team in majors. They're not going to make it, but they're going to stop you from making it. And they're going to be a very dangerous opponent for FaZe to go up against. I think before the draw was made, they must have been begging for Vega Squadron because Penta could have been dangerous for them as well. But here we are. These are difficult waters for the FaZe Clan, and I don't know how many of you are aware, but the boss men behind FaZe, they're always watching these tournaments. They're back in America in a massive house. They want an excuse to jump into their pool with their cameras, and FaZe are not giving it to them at the moment. 0-2, maybe it'll be the TV in the pool instead if they lose this one.
Yeah, and it's Mirage too, so this is a map that's always been really interesting with teams, with Blaze teams, because they often are very coordinated and very good at making the trades happen, and it's always just been a place of comfort, I would say, for Blade and his squad. So I mean, this is definitely a great matchup between these two teams because, of course, FaZe are no strangers to having really huge games on this map as well. I think this is probably the best map to have these two teams play on for the quality of the game. I have no idea about the outcome, and that I guess makes it all the more exciting. But yeah, a lot of pressure on these FaZe players, but they do have the experience to deal with it. I mean, again, this is just one of those very curious matchups. Like, how on earth I don't think you can predict this. No one in their right mind could really predict this one.
You know, on paper, you must favour FaZe, but really, I don't think anything is guaranteed against Flipside. When you are facing elimination, Flipside can do it, man. Flipside, best one S-tier gatekeepers. It is very, very possible. If only Blade can get his team to listen to him for the entire thing. If he says go A and no one says, okay, I'll fake B, then, Flipside can definitely do this. I think one of the criticisms on an open map such as this is the style of AWPing that that it brings. You have certain expectations from him. He's not going to do anything crazy aggressive and surprise you in that respect. So that's one thing that might be a weakness on their side. For those of you on GoTV, I would definitely have a look at Alu on Mirage. I think he's one of the better Mirage AWPers specifically, especially on the CT side. I think a lot of AWPers find it hard to be effective when you see those smokes coming into the CPL area. But Alu's one of the more capable AWPers in that respect, so definitely keep eyes on him. What about you, Dan?
Ooh, it's an interesting one. If you're Anders, it's Markelov, obviously. It'd be interesting to see how Markelov is playing this one. But yeah, I don't know, actually. There's a lot of players on this map that can really do a lot of damage. Do I have to,
what about Electronic?
I mean, Electronic, of course, is this really crazy upcomer. So that is definitely one that you could potentially choose. I think, as noted on the desk, he can be a bit streaky, so he's hard to predict, but sometimes, when he is playing well, he's actually amazing to watch. So, yeah, it's very difficult to say on the flip side, a perspective outside of Electronic.
I'm going to go for Electronic. For those of you in GoTV, I would recommend Electronic for Flipside and, well, I was going to say Alu, but for some reason Rain came into my mouth. Definitely Alu on Mirage. But it's never a bad idea to watch Rain or anyone on
Basically
FaZe,
anyone, yeah.
Yeah.
Star-studded lineup.
Nico's the easy pick, but Alu's my bro, and I expect him to deliver on Mirage as per usual. FaZe starting on the CT side.
Indeed, and it's going to be interesting to see who does start off well first individually. I think Kiyoshima often goes understated on such a crazy team with so many stars, but flip side there on the T side, and Blade, of course, is quite well known for having very difficult T sides to deal with, quite the strategical mastermind of Counter-Strike. As long as he can control his teammates, that's the, as you said before, that's the only thing really there. Well, we've got Nico looking down middle, and he should soon have some fun.
Kishima spotting some players, but again, it is the pistols. Bedlam is all but guaranteed. Bomb left. See, Blade, he was facing ramp, but not with the bomb. Didn't want to give any info away, but now he's starting to move up. But he's not going to get anything done with that Deagle. Wilderit and Markelov remain trying to do what they can. Alu and Reina tag, but 1 versus 4. Definitely doable for Wilderit, but the odds are very small. Alu off to a good start. Said to look for him. He's got himself a 3K in the pistol, so definitely going to be good for the mental boost, for the momentum. Definitely when your AWPers killing people all the time, keep them in good confidence. Although you can see Alu is a very focused man at all times. Even in the greatest of pop-offs, you'd be surprised to see him smiling. That man is a killing machine.
I like how we see a lot of FAMAS here from FaZe. Instead of opting to go for a lot of UMPs, people are starting to favor the FAMAS just for the fact that you can be a bit more dynamic, and should you find yourself at a long range, then you're going to be a bit more effective than the UMP. Ooh, my goodness gracious me! Waylander, 2-1 Deegs looking for number 3. That would be outrageous stuff there from him. Already it is outrageous. That's starting with a bang in round number 2 from Mr. Waylander. Where's the response? How do you respond to that?
Yeah, you can't. You're on the CT side. You are at the mercy of the Ts to a certain degree. That's not the only Deagle on the server. Although I don't remember seeing Blade use a Deagle before, so we'll see what he gets up to. Numbers game can quickly disappear. Only 1 player with a helmet, only 3 players with Kevlar. So FaZe can quickly spin things around to more of an even keel, but easier said than done. Kishima outside B, keeping an off angle in the crawl space. While the remainder of his team on the A side, they've made the right play, but there's a kill from Blade. 5 versus 2. Blade will get picked off, but there's so many people alive for Flipside.
They've got the bomb down here. Nice open plant for them to play with. Positions all over the place now, leaving Kiyoshima with that FAMAS vid taking all kinds of tags in until he is dead. Electronic with the frags, and wow.
Those are brazen peaks from Electronic. Considering he's got 1 or maybe even 2 players near connector, they can be the initial peeker, then he can pop out and you've got a 2 versus 1 at least instantly. But no, he's just good. No, I'm just going to peek with P250 and kill. It's fine, don't worry. I got this, boys.
This is actually insane here, these 1Ds, because, okay, Alu, but then the second player, or Nico, just sitting there, you expect, I think we were on Nico's pop, and you kind of expect Nico to be like, okay, there's a guy top mid, just going to go out, peek and kill him now, but he takes one in the face as well. Mac 10 for Blade, and quick rush onto B.
Yeah, and it seems they're committed. I like that they have late flashes while they emerge through the balcony as well. More on that later, as it seems it's a return of fortune. Kishima drawing the gun but can't fire it quite in time, but they still have the man advantage. There are tags, and now it's Nico's turn to get a Deagle off. He's got himself 1, looking for Wilderit's head as well. He's getting tagged, Nico. Wilderit though down to 28 HP. Both these players now can get taken down by just one shot from this Deagle. Ali on the high ground with a piece 50. Hasn't spotted the player to his left. Both kills somehow managed by Flipside. At the end, they're very, very close. Might have had some luck to get away with that one.
That is crazy. One player survived with 8 health, the other 7. That's nuts.
I think Ali plays 4x3, doesn't he? Because I feel like if he's 16-9, he sees that guy, but such is life. The
I'm not
guy
sure
who
if he plays 4-3.
sight. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I am guessing. I think he would have seen him if he was 69. But anyway, it is what it is. And what it is 2-1 to Flipside. They just hold on to that one. They managed to retain. Not the start that Rain wanted again. One of these teams is going home. One of these teams is eliminated. One of these teams has credentials removed. No more access to the kitchen. It's time to go home.
I think for a lot of people, they would have expected to see FaZe in the finals. And I think that's a realistic expectation for many. But Flipside looking to stop that here on day number 3. It's Waylander with the spray down there in the middle. Only getting 2 though. It's just USPs, I think only it's a single P250 and they've managed to get 2 kills. Pick up a Khalil here on Alu. Be careful with that one though, and he will. Oh my! Oh, what on earth just happened there? Wow, that's a Bardolph move.
Yeah, and he's going to have a reasonable rotation towards the A site as the last 2 players come in. So Karragan's made the right reads. He has an angle. There's a tight angle he can hold from his position, but he's gone for a more forward one to stop the cross into A. But he's gone for an off angle. He's subject to the aim punch, but still manages to get the 1 kill, but only the 1. Another tight round, but Flipside win again. But let's consider the economic investment from Flipside. FaZe didn't have much in that round.
I feel like Karragan's quite unlucky not to get the fast first headshot there. I think, you had a good angle, but the AK is not always incredibly reliable, especially at ranges like that for that first bullet precision. And once you get tagged with the with that Kevlar, that aim punch starts to prove problematic. And yeah, wow, that's that's actually insane. The timing there of Electronic looking to the right, that's actually unreal. At least he did get a boost of cash there. Did Karragan $1,500 for the knife kill, highest kill reward that you can get by far. Here's a set piece execution onto the A site here from Flipside.
Those are quite the Molotovs. Presumably there's one close to the triple position. They're all over the place. Sandwich and the shadow area. Rain checked for and taken down. Nico pushing through the smoke, having a quick peek, quick burst. Not finding anything. Eventually getting punished. This is a disastrous start for FaZe, but they're not out of the round just yet. They're still committed. Karragan, Kishima in jungle and connector. Karragan, sorry, jumping out of window into connector now. You see Ali there in CT. Finally the kills coming in, but only the 1. 1-for-1 is not good enough here for the CT side. And now it's Karragan alone, still pushing forward in a 1 versus 4, doing what he can, but it's not going to be much in that situation. 4-1 for Flipside. We said they were dangerous, and they are proving it at early on in this Mirage game.
Yeah, that execution was nuts, wasn't it? There's just so many Molotovs. I think maybe even all 5 Molotovs at once thrown by the T side into the various positions. Nowhere to stand on the bomb site, and it's hard to deal with that when it's executed so flawlessly as it was by Flipside. We did see staggered flashbangs coming in as well from both teams, so absolute madness. From Flipside, they seem to know exactly what round to play at the perfect time. We'll see how long that lasts, though. As once again, FaZe are down onto an eco. Not too much to say for themselves in this round, but it's in rounds like this where we've seen the most damage from FaZe, so can't count them out ever.
Yeah, and a lot of money's been spent on this eco. Karragan with the scout, that's $1,700, leaving him with 15. So it's an interesting investment into the cash, of cash rather. Crossfire here for the CT side. The kills will rain in for both teams. 3 versus 2, quickly down to the 2-on-2. Karragan looking for more tags. Markelov, will he survive another shot? Depends on where it is. And that one was close. And Karragan will run distraction while Kishimi gets in position. This Deagle does a lot of damage, but the aim punch will stop it, leaving Karragan alone. Where is the rotation? If Markelov, okay, goes underneath. Did wonder if he went short. Now, if Karragan runs towards B, he will be heard by Wilded, who has the angle. Crisis averted again. These ecos are really coming far too close to Flipside.
Yeah, you can already see a lot of frustration there onto the FaZe side.
Telling you, man, the FaZe Clan TV is going in the pool if they go 0-3 in this major.
Yeah, and you can see that, as you said, the draw that they get Flipside here. This is a really tough situation that they find themselves in. They're going to have to muster themselves. All of their mental constitution needs to come into play here. All of that mental strength. They must stay strong when things look difficult here. Flipside 5-1. Once again, a buy from FaZe. Up onto Alu. He's peeking into middle from Connector at the moment. He has support of Nico as well. So at the moment, FaZe detect that there's nothing going on in middle. So they might start to wonder, what are Flipside up to?
Do you think Flipside's T side will be stronger than their CT side, or should be stronger on this map against this opponent?
I think they have a strong T and CT side, but I think their T side can particularly be troubling for a lot of teams.
I do wonder then what their goal is in terms of rounds, or if teams even have
16-1,
goals.
James.
16-1 I meant in this half, so I do worry about that.
I don't think they think of that. I think they just try to
win every round one at a time.
Yeah.
All the rounds.
All of the rounds.
5-1. Not a terrible start by any means for the Flipside team. FaZe Clan at max loss bonus, and they don't want to stay there. They want to be in that W column. Alu making his way out of Connector by the stairs, looking for entrance towards A, but it seems like it's going to be a B. Very important smoke on that short position, allowing them to be obscured as they make their way into short B. And there we go. Kiyoshima's going to get taken down in isolation. Karrigan at the back. He really needs help. He's in a good position, though, and he could play slow if he's allowed to, but no. Electronic with a great angle. The B site is theirs.
It's a really smart way to clean this side up, and Nico will hold on to the window position, but it looks like they're going to likely be thinking of the save here. Indeed, they have not really any cash to spend, but they do have a big loss bonus, so they can get a very solid buy into the next round. But yeah, I do like how Electronic cleared the site, because if you consider he enters from short, his teammates haven't really been able to break through the apartments fully yet, and he takes a pretty deep angle straight up against the wall towards the window, in towards the shop area, and of course you can see so many positions there. Catches Karrigan. It really makes Karrigan's position very weak all of a sudden, so it's really nice movement to take the site effectively, and we'll see Flipside with that extra round now. 6-1. It looks so smooth for them, just right selection of rounds. All the pressure's on FaZe at the moment.
And how much pressure that is. 6-1. Because they saved 3 weapons and their loss bonus is 3,400, the CTs can drop rifles for their brethren. That might make them short on grenades, the people who drop, but they'll have a good buy. It won't be a bad buy by any means. A tactical timeout from FaZe, of which 11 seconds remain. So, looking at the scoreboard, well, there isn't much going on for the team. Blade must be happy with things at the moment. They're 6-1. He is 1 for 6. Ironically, but he's the in-game leader. As long as the pieces are moving around as instructed, then he'll be a happy chappy.
I think these pauses for the CT side, it's often quite difficult on the CT side, because you can't necessarily have too much of a game plan change. It's more or less just getting everybody on the same page, getting everybody focused and grounded again to be ready to play with the best efficacy in the rounds to come. And that's a close miss there from World at it, but a miss all the same. Good information as to the fact that they are playing into Connector quite quickly. But where will be the initial pressure here from Flipside? We can see Waylander is making his way down underpass. And it does look like with the bomb and also with Blades supporting the bomb by the T-pit position that they do look to finish into a split.
This is very curious. Are they going to show the bomb in this situation? Because they've dropped 2 smokes towards the jungle area, and indeed, Wonderlet's going to peek with the bomb. I wondered if it would be like a double fake. But no, they're just going to go for the entries of those 2 men despite the isolation, and so far so good. Waylander getting a pick-off, making his way through jungle. It's a 3-pronged assault now. CT's Rain isolated on the site. Can they depend on him, as they always do?
Yeah, really great uses of utility here from Flipside. Just cutting off Alu by short, and look how much space they get because of that. Markov able to get a 2K onto the bomb site. The bomb will be planted as well, leaving Karrigan and Alu to rotate, but they don't have, once again, all that much space to work with, confined to attacking from CT spawn, and that is by design by Flipside in the way in which they've taken this bomb site and how they've set up their post-plant positions now, as the flash will be tossed in. Carrigan with a nice peek there. Gets a, in fact, it's Ali with the frag. We'll get a second one, but there's just simply too much work to be done and not enough players with which to do it. And that's another round for Flipside and another amazing execution. Just the way that they did that with the timing was really beautiful.
Yeah, works out for Flipside again, 7-1. FaZe have won the pistol, and then they have been absent from the win column. Nowhere to be seen, nowhere near it either. There's no dot on the radar for FaZe at the moment. On the buy once more. Again, that loss bonus is going to be throwing money at them, but it's up to them to convert. Big flashes coming in, players spotted. Here's the communication there for Flipside. The Molotov's going down to isolate these players to allow Flipside to get into better post-plant situation. 4-on-3 now. And the Molotovs and grenades continue. Bomb being planted for short. No lurker necessary as they are holding steadfast on the site. Final 2 CTs in CT, but what can they do in this situation?
Once again, an exactly same situation, but even worse than the previous round, just at a faster pace from Flipside. What an immense effort they've been putting in so far to completely just shake the grounds that FaZe stand on. And they can't seem to find their footing. And right now it's all about Blade just being in the head of FaZe and understanding exactly what FaZe will read and playing one step ahead of it, throwing them off balance continuously. So what's the next round? What is the next curveball that will be thrown at FaZe by Blade? That's the question for FaZe to answer right now.
What's next for FaZe at present is a timeout. 8-1. I mean, it's difficult for them to even get aggressive and try and take the game away from Flipside. Flipside are prepared. They're ready for a slow pace. They will have expectation and they'll try to read how their opponents might try to change things up. Markelov is a happy chappy. I'm sure Anders is in his bubble bath as well with his framed picture of Markelov. Waterproof, of course, on the side. I'm sure he's got the scented candles going on, probably chanting as well, knowing Anders. 8-1 for Flipside. And if Flipside are A, able to win this match, and B, with a dominant performance / scoreline, then that bodes well for them mentally going into their next match to stay and proceed in this major. But for now, we'll focus on the current game. 8-1, by no means is it over. And FaZe can still recover and have a reasonable score in this half. As bad as it looks now, 7-8 is still possible for FaZe Clan.
And we can see that Flipside are going for some mid-development here. They've got one player on underpass, they've got the smoke on catwalk there to allow 3 players to come up top mid as well. And Blade tossing a flash into the short position there for his teammates as they make their way up quickly. And Blade trying to get some damage done there towards Connector, but his teammates will be the ones to do all the damage as they march in incredibly quickly into that B bomb site. They've cleared it out, and again, you have to note the just great use of both timing, coordination, and utility from Flipside.
Lots of mollies in CPL, but mid is a dangerous place on the anti-eco for the T players. So many areas for the CTs to peek. So things could have been much worse for them around Connector, for example. But it's successful for them this time. 9-1 en route. Of course, this is the buy between, or even is it? Let me have a look. Yep. They've got just shy of $3,000 for the most part, FaZe Clan, so back to full buy territory thanks to their loss bonus. Their loss bonus is their only friend at present. In the first half of Mirage, Flipside just shy of double figures.
And it does remind me of when we watched Big yesterday, just because Big also were really good at just having great coordination and timing and use of utility, and just having these very well-developed rounds where seemingly they're covering a lot of space, they're just basically shaking up the CT rotation massively and having that perfect timing to actually capitalize. And that's something that some teams aren't so good at, is, you know, okay, we can force the CT rotation, but then we don't have good timing to actually punish it. And that's very difficult to do effectively. And so far, Flipside, they look like they're in their elements.
This is the aggression I was talking about. FaZe trying to take the game away from their opponents back-to-back, Nico and Rain. However, again, Flipside, they're prepared for this. This is not a big issue for them. Waylander is top of mid at the moment, just keeping an eye on things. And you can see how he's going for the the shoulder peaks. He's not just standing there holding the angle. You know, that can be tiresome for a player to just stare at something, and it can slow down your reactions, as well as having an extra element of surprise by just going backwards and forwards. NiKo now in the underpass position, but still, they're kind of halfway there, FaZe. They don't really have the information guaranteed, and Kishima is deep towards 8 on his own. Waylander, though, running into Palace, just about won't be heard. See Blade taking the odd shot here and there. So what does Karrigan make of this? They have minimal information, FaZe. The sound has been cut from Flipside, and they are out of position.
And we've seen Flipside run this sort of around in a very fast manner, but this is a much slower one. So just trying to alter the pace here to just keep the mix-ups going there for the FaZe Clan to deal with. Electronic will take down Kiyashima, who goes aggressive, but neutralized is the result, and the bomb site is taken. Another solid result here for Flipside, but FaZe can actually battle their way back in. They have multiple prongs to attack with, and that's a great distraction for the flank to do its magic.
Blade takes down Raid, but will he expect NiKo coming in from the back as well? NiKo's made his way towards Palace. They've got time, but they don't have any defuse kits, these FaZe Clan players, so maybe not as much time as you would expect. Karrigan taken down. We might have flanks on flanks. Electronic near jungle could go towards CT, but for now, he will hold his position. NiKo coming out of Palace, but too many angles for him, leaving Alu alone, and he won't be lasting long either. The worst has happened. So there was some potential. As that push came in and Kiyashima was picked off, there was a two-man push from the CTs through B apartment, turning into a flank, but Blade was ready for it. Blade is everywhere. Blade is omnipresent, Dan. Blade is Daedalus in Deus Ex.
It's quite scary, isn't it? It's just such a well-oiled machine. It's as though they're, running everything against, I don't want to say, bots necessarily, but it's just the fact that their plan is their drills are just working, just without a hitch. And FaZe aren't able to even bring any of these rounds into clutch situations, really. So that's really, really scary, because of course that's one thing that FaZe are amazing at, the clutch situations, because they have such a crazy strong lineup of individual players, but very tough life for them. At this point, the best result is 5 rounds in the first half, which against Flipside is always going to be worrying, but if they are even able to get to 3 at this rate, that's going to be something that would be quite surprising, considering how well Flipside have been playing and how well they've been reading the game as well. FaZe will do their best, though, and they do have Ali on an AWP, so there is hope here for them. But he might not be looking the right way in time, and that's Alu completely dead. So very dead. Didn't even really get a chance to turn around and pull the trigger.
Blade deserves this as well. He is maybe a criminally underrated in-game leader because of the struggles that they can sometimes have. But, we've been fans of his strats way back when in the days of that team. He looked at like the Astralis or the NIP for nuke strats, but that team was there as well. Had some really fast plays in towards A on the old nuke, as well as other maps. So he knows that his team are good enough for this, for an 11-1 scoreline versus FaZe. But can they close it out? It's all good. It's only one half. It's only one half, and by no means is the half over. NiKo on the flank, on the high ground. NiKo dead. Round over.
Indeed, just going to go back and save. And another interesting, storyline from that perspective too is just some of the old IGLs just, remaining in a position of success in some senses. Again, not to call it early for Flipside. Obviously, we can see that Blade still has it, the IGLing powers, and obviously GodB is also doing well this tournament with Big, and you can see the impact that GodB has had strategically and tactically on his team, and also it's just as a leadership figure. And the in-game leading, it doesn't just happen inside the game. It's leadership outside of the game as well, especially to the younger players, the upcoming talent that you might have coming into your lineup, that you have to kind of grill into shape and also just help to condition them from the psychological perspective, because you have all that experience already. And that's the level of experience that a man like Blade can bring.
Can see the stress on NiKo's face. Only 4 kills, half the kills of Markelov at the moment. Alu with 8, along with Karrigan. Electronic and Wild did it, and Waylander with 12. A team effort for Flipside, a team effort. And that's what you need with a leader like Blade behind you. Everybody on the same page. all firing in the same direction. This is a bite for FaZe, and they've got aggression. Look at all of these smokes. That could be a serious problem. NiKo's going to get tagged in the leg, but it's they with the advantage. Waylander going through the smoke into the sandwich position, but has he been detected? He definitely has now. 2 players looking for him, leaving WildEdit alone. He's headed towards the B bomb site, and Karrigan's still there. Might be having a look towards the B position. In fact, he's getting into position, and that is not the surprise that WildEdit needed or wanted. Finally, FaZe get their second round on the board. They won the first round, and they won that round as well, but it's been a very arid landscape in between, leaving it an 11-2 scoreline.
Yeah, something... It's like a pouch of water that's been dropped in the desert when you've been searching desperately for something to drink, and let's see if that can keep them going long enough until they can find that oasis. It's going to be quite the struggle indeed. It's double AWP here and some aggression. Karrigan kicks things off very well. Nice pick off there from him. And NiKo is close with the AK. Taking down Blade, catching him off guard. It's a good start here from FaZe. In fact, an even better start. NiKo's perhaps a bit angry here. Going to be unleashing some of that anger, relieving some of that tension onto the Flipside players as we enter a 4 versus 1. So perhaps there's Flipside have actually lost some steam at this point, but I suppose they've already gotten to 11 rounds, so they'll be certainly in a position of comfort.
Yeah, but you don't want to give anything to FaZe. 4 rounds could be enough for FaZe. Could be enough. Could be just a ticket, just a badger. Kishima spotted. Nice shoulder picking from Waylander, taking a lot of damage, but he can still do more. It's the T's who have the money in this situation. Every kill is going to hurt. Doesn't matter if he plants the bomb or not. There aren't many rounds remaining, but if he picks off 1 or 2 more players, it's going to be very expensive for FaZe moving forward, but he won't do that. So FaZe's money will be somewhat stable moving into the last round, and I'm sure they can spread that money around so everybody has a rifle. I love that the 1v1 screen is only in the replay and not during the game, where it's merely annoying for me, at least. But that's my opinion, not facts. Last round of the first half. Double AWPs for FaZe. They are afforded shiny toys, but only in the very last rounds.
That's a fast nades though from Flipside into middle to take it over quickly. A faster pace once again from them, but a counter incendiary will slow the roll of Waylander, who was trying to make his way up quite quickly, but he will now be further joined by his teammates. Some good tagging there through the smoke onto Rain, who will reposition. And Flipside have middle, and they've shown that they are very good at developing the rounds out of mid-control. That's a little bit crazy, isn't it?
The man knows his angles.
Yeah, that is scary for FaZe.
Yes, this is a much-needed 4th round for FaZe. It's only 1 digit on the scoreboard, but it means so much more. It's a huge round for them to win, and a devastating round for them to lose. NiKo on the ramp. He has 2 guests, but he's not feeling very welcoming to guests at the moment. No Sunday Rose before or Blade. The barbecue is closed. The bomb in possession of NiKo. 2 versus 4, make it 3. 1 player known, and it seems he might have a read on Mark Electronic's position. Great spray by NiKo, and that should be the round shut down, but let's not count out Mark. He's got 1 kill so far, but he's blind as Rain strafes to finish off the job. 4 rounds for FaZe, a fighting chance.
And I love the off angle that NiKo took as well, because he's much further away from the corner than the T's would be in that spot, and they're in a much tighter position, so he gets a slightly more time to react and get those frags. So a very favorable situation for him to play from, and he just plays it perfectly and gets that double kill here. And there you can see the angle. It's like double the distance away from the corner there. That's how you want to do it. NiKo, a masterclass of CS in that round with the M4, and that's going to be an effort that will pay off into that 4th round for FaZe, but it's quite the climb back. We saw Penta able to accomplish that against Vega just previously. Will FaZe be the 2nd team to do so on Mirage here today?
Well then, what is Blade up to? He was almost lining up to flash mid from CT spawn, it looks like. But now he's going to be heading over towards the bomb site. He will be the third man there. It is a rush from the T's. Waylander hasn't quite spotted Karrigan just yet and just takes him down with almost his last bullet. Being very patient, manages to eke out another kill onto Rain. So this is a good pistol round so far for Flipside. However, FaZe are still in it and they still have possession of the bomb.
So now it's going to slow down somewhat as FaZe decide to use all the time allotted to them, which is just over a minute. And that's important because, as we can see, Flipside, they're starting to think, okay, they're waiting right now, or rather they've disappeared and some time has passed. That means now they could actually be towards the A side of the map, so they have to naturally split up. And that will allow FaZe to have some better engagements, or at least less players to initially deal with, but Flipside have very good positions right now.
Yeah, Electronics' position in Palace is really important, and it negates almost every plant spot on the A site, although if the T's, well, never mind that. Let's see what the T's manage to do in a situation. Despite that, they don't really have many eyes on Connector. So while that it's trying to look at Connector to A, but also Connector to B. So he's kind of in two minds at the moment. Maybe should commit to one in the meantime. Nico's been picked off, but still no bomb. Nico spotted on short will reveal the plan. Waylander gets his 4th kill of the round. Again, very patient with the shots early on when he really needed to be. He did a lot for his team in that round. And the worst has happened for FaZe. 4-12. You've lost a pistol. You've got very little choice left over now. You may be, well, their hand is definitely forced into a forced buy in round number 17.
And Waylander is a player that we didn't really mention too much at the beginning, and he's having a large result so far for the team with those 19 kills of his. And FaZe have almost used up they've almost used all their timeouts. There we go. We'll spat it out in the end. And I do enjoy the fact that they are trying to make the best use of the timeout. Some teams, it's a sad shame when you see a team having a problem or having a hard game, and then to see that they've not used a timeout until the last rounds, essentially. That's never good, but I'm sure FaZe are going to be able to rally themselves here and get themselves back into the game. It's always tough to lose those pistol rounds, and I'm curious what they'll do with this force buy of theirs. Indeed, we've got only 3 grenades, 2 smokes and a flashbang. Looks like they're going to just rush into the A site and just pray for the best.
Pistols, 2 smoke grenades, 1 flashbang. That is, those are the hopes and prayers of FaZe in round 17. Nico unable to get anything going in the middle area. Difficult to try and pull some plays away from A or get some kills. He will join his team. In fact, he's going to go for entries. Nico's in hold my beer mode, but the CTs aren't giving him much of anything. Slowly creeping in, won't have the angle to see Electronic moving back. Seems that the CTs will be content playing retake here. The grenades flying in. Karrigan opting for the inverse plant, then going for the one around the corner from Triple, then realizing he was completely exposed and planting for the smokes instead. Nice adjustment from him, an important one. FaZe backing out of the site.
Look how patient Flipside are being with this retake. They're not rushing in, they're not taking any risks. They're going to allow the plant. They're going to get into position first, but this is cool. We're seeing 2 members from FaZe actually rotating into middle. That's kind of insane. But there's still Waylander who's sitting there with the M4, and he's perhaps predicting this play as the rest of his teammates now start to clean up the bomb site. In fact, there's one player in connector for FaZe, but there's also another flanker coming in. It's Nico going to go all the way through the back here. Now, oh, he can't make it there in time. Absolutely gutting stuff there for Nico. It's a good attempt, though, in the round, but once again, just the patience from Flipside cannot be understated.
Yeah, but again, presence of mind from Flipside. That entire time on that retake, Waylander was staying on short. I mean, maybe they watched the previous game from Mir. They realized the bomb was planted on short, and probably it was in the back of their minds they could be going for an apartments play. But you don't often see that in that situation so late from the FaZe Clan. So maybe it was a split-second decision with a 2-man rotation. Unfortunately for FaZe, it didn't work out. FaZe Clan currently in the middle of their last timeout, and I don't know who's talking on that team. Maybe it was Robban in the back, but the players may be out of ideas at this point. A 9-round deficit, only 4 on the board, none of which have come in the 2 rounds in this half just yet. Force buy after force buy. FaZe Clan in the second half, looking like FaZe Clan because they have little option left. I think Flipside, of the choices, probably the worst opponent they could get out of the three, and Flipside is showing them why.
Absolutely. And Blade getting some fast input there on mid, it's always nice. And he actually tagged Nico, I think, or someone tagged Nico quite significantly. What it is there to back up as well. And perhaps with the MP9 showing they're at top mid, they thought that they could easily get a trade kill or fast fragging situation, but just baited into the AWP of World Edit. And that's a man down early here for FaZe in a situation where they really need every single man. They need every single round. Flipside a mere 3 away from victory, and with a 5 versus 4, they can just play passively now and just use that man advantage. Don't need as much information. Just have to play safe positions and they'll be good to go, and that's what they're doing.
Alu and Nico creeping around connector. The bomb, though, headed towards Kirishima on B, so will it ultimately be a short play? Nico has a smoke grenade. Could be used for connector, could be used on short if it is to be a B play. They're looking for entries, maybe trying to sell the fake for the time being, trying to pull rotation, but they'll be pulled into a black hole thanks to World Edit. Now Karragan's making his way towards that connector area while Kirishima's still here towards B. And Markov is simply waiting to finish him off. 2 players now to stop Flipside getting to their 14th round.
Nico getting a nice kill onto Electronic now as the bomb makes its way onto A. World Edit waits though, like a snake in the grass for the moment to strike. Does miss that shot, but Waylander's there to back him up. Nico now alone. Another quick frag made there by Nico. That's 2 in the round for him. He's got no time to collect the bomb or get the kills. It's a desperate and very sad way to exit this round. Can he even survive off the time? Oh dear. Oh, that's so painful. You can see it on his face as well. This is a very tough pill to swallow right now that Flipside are giving to FaZe.
Yeah, and it's not a pill being taken orally, Dan. Well then, let's see what FaZe have to offer in round number 19. Blade holding down mid for the time being. An AWP, 2 UMPs, and the pistols. Death by paper cuts, perhaps, for FaZe if they are to prove unsuccessful in this round, because they've got to be really careful at every decision they make now.
Tension here as Ali looks for a pick. Flipside not giving anything away though. They know they have FaZe on their last legs. Alu whipping a shot there. A bit of pressure coming in onto mid now. Alu under a lot of pressure. He's perhaps in trouble getting tagged down to 41 health. He does have some backup though, and his teammates will arrive now from underpass.
Look at the risk minimization from Flipside. They must have heard the cavalry running through underpass coming to help Alu out. And they just got out of there. They just got out of the connector position for the most part. Electronic, though, will stay a bit too long. And now Kishima's boost has been successful, and there are advantages to FaZe.
Great peek there from Nico out the palace to punish World Edit. He was looking down into connector where all the traffic has been going. Markov now looking for some wallbangs. Ooh, cheeky stuff almost, but the turn is back and be taken down unceremoniously. And around for FaZe as they make things slightly easier for themselves, but the climb is so significant right now. It's very difficult. This is the test. This is the true test. Your back is against the wall when there is no margin for error, when your tournament life is on the line.
It may end up being a test for both teams. If Flipside's money gets broken, World Edit and Waylander on the AWP. Double AWPs and 3 pistols, so say if their money's been broken, it already has. So now is the test. You're so close. A few people would expect you to win, kicking things off here. So you've got a chance to cause an upset and show that by no means are you out of this tournament. And that's where a test of temerity will come in for Flipside as well as FaZe, despite this advantage. We've seen matches lost at 14 rounds versus not much. The comeback definitely possible for FaZe, but can they keep their heads in the game?
The setup here is good for Flipside. They have so many players who can quickly attack this middle position. Just look at these crossfires. There's so many crossfires, and Markov peeks out, finds the head of Alu, and that'll be sent rolling down the catwalk now as we get the push coming in from FaZe. Waylander in position. They've read this play, and oh, the flick is stunning there from Waylander. Just leaves Nico in the apartments alone. 1 versus 4. He does pick off World at it, but he's got so much to do. Pulls out the deagle, but Waylander will finish him off. That was a perfectly positioned round from Flipside once again.
Flipside are looking like absolute monsters. Markelov's picked up the AWP as well. Maybe this is an Anders special, I don't know. Triple ops on the CT side. This is, well, definitely a Brazilian special. SK love this kind of stuff. Maybe birthed in Oceania, who knows. So that was a Dust 2 special. This is Mirage. Great snap there from Waylander. Delivering for his team. Flipside looking laser focused. What a scoreline this might be. Might be. Isn't just yet. Kiyashima with the 1 AK for FaZe. Lots of grenades, but do they have the coordination? Do they have... Is this enough for them? As it looks like it on any side, in almost any round of this map.
The good thing, though, for FaZe, not many good things you can talk about, but the good thing that you can say for a round like this is if they are to run a smoke set piece, against 3 AWPs, that is actually the ideal ideal way, there we go, to actually handle it, because of course you block off all the visibility for the AWP as you get the bomb down. You can push close range behind the smokes. That's absolutely the best way to handle a multiple AWPing situation, but they are quite spread out at the moment. And some of the nades are now being used towards middle. And they are still waiting to come together. But Electronics there, ready and waiting. Ooh, good start here from FaZe. Exactly what they need.
CT's in a retake situation. Markelov with a nice kill onto Rain, who was boosted up. 40 seconds. And it's Karrigan's turn to go and rotate for the short play. He's making his way towards B apartments, but if he goes there, Waylander will hear him in apartments himself from short B. And it's Markelov now and Waylander. The double ops once again. Kishima in connector. Karrigan moving top mid, so Waylander could get exposed here. He's surely going to get taken down. Karrigan's going to be careful with that Tech 9. It's not easy for him, Karrigan. He's been spotted, but that might just win the tease the round. Waylander falls from his position. Aliu on the flank of Markelov. The deagle's there, though. So the AWPs may remain. Markelov on all of 5 HP as he tries to escape to B. Oh no, he's missed the angle. Oh, they're going to both die. Maybe not. Maybe not. A 6th round on the board for FaZe.
Expensive though, and I think they spent all their money so pretty much. So, well, not quite. They had a few extra dollars in the bank there, and of course some kills as well. So, just enough money to get full AK, full grenades, but not too much more than that. So as you said, really would have paid off massively for let's say Aliu to be able to have received the kill onto Markelov.
This is the round that Anders lives for. The Flipside have nothing at behalf of Markelov on the AWP. It's Markelov versus the world in this round. That's literally what it is. Markelov has to make a play. In some situations, it might be map dependent. You would just see Diorpa try and get into an aggressive position on Cash, for example, by Markelov. He's over towards triple. He's got many targets, and he's going to be good for 1. Now he's dead, unfortunately for him. 3 pistols remain for Flipside, doing some damage to Nico. They've got nothing to lose here at this point, Flipside. Blade's going to make a play. He's picked up the AWP. There's no cover from CT. That's a nice play from him. And it's Waylander that remains. Coming in from T-Spawn. Could be the last place they expect. Nico slowing things down. Moving to Sandwich. Waylander might go on the search, and the time may play off. Has he made a noise? It seems like he has. Nico come out and rip his face off. And that will be the round.
That sound at the start of every single round for FaZe, the sound that means that one of the teams is on match point and it's not them, is quite an annoying reminder, to be honest. That it's a reminder that you can't lose a round, a reminder that you can't put a foot wrong, you can't make a mistake. Every single round, that's what that sound means for FaZe at the moment. But at the very least, they have Flipside on a pistol buy. It's a buy without Kevlar, really, apart from Electronic. A couple grenades for Electronic and Markelov, perhaps to toss in towards the B apartments, I believe. I think that's where they are at the moment. Indeed. Well, actually, no, they're split up. Electronics towards the pit position. Markelov is towards B, so I'm quite curious about the HE decision, to be honest, actually. The single HE. It's just so hit and miss, isn't it? It's just so... It either does you know...
There are two HEs.
Yeah, but they're on either side.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so just it's kind of like a single HE. It's very hard to get that single HE to be meaningful, but we'll see if they can make it work.
Bomb is in Biaps. Not to be confused with Biatch. That literally means nothing. I just wanted to say that now. FaZe Clan clearing out the connector area. They look good for a split of the B bomb sites. Markelov, though, is in a sneaky position. I didn't even realize that he could have angles towards short from there. I haven't seen this angle before. Normally people look into the B apartments. That is a lovely one dig from him, and they're going to have no idea, surely no idea where that came from. There's baiting going on, but the clean out is there. The street sweepers are here for FaZe.
Oh
Electronic, though, he still remains.
He's just running in. That's absolutely brazen stuff there from Electronic. And he has them running. It's crazy. Oh, man, I had the Star Wars flashback. There's like Han Solo just running down the hallway. This is pretty ridiculous. As Blade now comes in, he will be eventually taken out. But yeah, it's quite funny to see Electronic running in there like Han Solo with the pistol, and he'll be taken out eventually. It's another round for FaZe, but indeed such a climb back for them. And finally, Flipside, they've been waiting for this moment for a while now. Quite a few rounds have passed since they saw a decent buy, but here it is again. Wadded it back on the AWP, and full grenades for everybody, including all the incendiaries, and 4 kits. Must be nice.
What must be nice is if they're able to take round number 16. FaZe just north of half the score of Flipside. It's a long way to go, but if you're a Flipside fan, you better not feel comfortable until they have the W, if they are to even get there. Nico top mid, 4 players towards A for FaZe. 2 high, 2 on the low. And Flipside have looked to bolster their setup for B, and there might be a push coming in from Waylander, but can they get the information fast enough? That's the question. Apparently not, because FaZe are already making their way into the A site. Great bursts by Blade, but he'll be traded by Carrigan.
Such a fast play, and it's interesting that there's still a player lurking in top mid. Indeed, it's Nico takes down Waylander. He was waiting for the rotation from B. Such a smart play there from FaZe to increase the odds they make this, but this next peak from Wadded, it could be the make or break in this position as, the trade doesn't happen there for Wadded. He just watches Electronic die, and now the pressure mounts to try to get something out of this, but it's looking unlikely at this point. Now that it's a 4 versus 2, FaZe looks solid in this position to continue to the W, and they will indeed get the W, at least in this very round, as they still have quite the way to go, but another eco's in store for Flipside now.
Yeah, but this is this 8-15 suddenly looks like a 10-15 because Flipside don't have the cash. They don't got the cash. But we've seen how dangerous they can be on eco round. So yes, no round is a given until it is over. But this is, you know, if I'm a Flipside fan, I'm nervous until they've won, if they win.
I mean, you've seen it before, haven't you, from Flipside and Majors, where they have struggled to close the game. I feel like this isn't that same kind of Flipside squad, but at the same time, you know, there's always the worry for everyone. You know, as you say, the game's not over until it's over, and even when you're down in this situation, you're 9-15. If you're getting that momentum, if you're hitting your shots, you know, things can feel good, and that can be difficult to play against. Even if you are the team that just needs a single round, sometimes things can start to seem impossible. Start to run out of ideas. So we see the peak battle here between the two AWPers, and Ali winning that very important AWP duel. Had Wadded it won that one, then it's a real chance for a retake, but Ali shut it down.
Pistol play for the CTs. 2-man push into Palace. Nico's on the ramp, but if he tries to stop them coming back out of Palace and kill them, he's exposed to various other places. So they have to give up that weapon. They have to concede the AK. There's not much else they can do. Nico, though, still looking for something. Maybe running distraction, keeping them entertained, because the responses of B-Push, but Markelov is already on the high ground, and you can see for the time being, Flipside, they can just wait in the market. They've got 4 players in the market area. Markelov being slow spotted now, but everybody has exited the high ground. Nico, though, is on the flank. There's so many things at play here that could change. Blade's charging through, but he can't get the kill. He's made some plays, but not the whole lot. Markelov now trying to get some kills. He needs a second one before Nico comes in from the back. Blade's getting tagged. There's more CTs streaming through. Well did it now. Last man standing picked up himself up an AWP. 1v1 versus Nico. He knows where Nico is. He's baiting the defuse, but surely he doesn't have a kit. Indeed, he doesn't have one. He's holding it. Nico, does he commit? Creeping out, preying on Nico. Does he believe? He's down 17 HP. A jumping pistol could do this, but surely there's no time. I think Nico's done his job already, and indeed he has, but it's cost them absolutely everything.
And well, that they can't save the orb. That's a pretty important feature there, but you can imagine that in the initial players of FaZe who died at the start there, that they're thinking just, not like this, not like this after all this effort. To lose to the eco round, that's never how you want it to happen, should it happen indeed. And it's an unceremonious way to exit, but we've got the Byron back in here for Flipside. And FaZe themselves full buy as well, Alu on the AWP as we are used to seeing. And we have a really fast round here. FaZe looking to potentially go for a really quick split through connector and up T-pit through onto the A site. This could be very dangerous for Flipside.
Vintage FaZe Clan strats coming out. It's a Kiyoshima special, and Kiyoshima's in the red. Kiyoshima absolutely dead. Grenade flying in, no range there as well. 2 for 0. Well, then it will finally get traded. Alu makes his way into Sandwich. Smoke top, so that might save Blade. It won't save Blade. Markelov picked off as well. This is spinning around straight back into favor of FaZe. Bomb getting planted, or perhaps not quite yet. Nico has to stand his ground. Electronic on the high ground himself. Last man standing, the bomb is down again, the 1 versus 1. It's Carrigan, the in-game leader, the talisman for FaZe Clan. He can't do it. Flipside, hello, have finally done it. 16-10. They've taken it over the line. They had so many rounds to do it, and eventually they did.
And amazing stuff as well for the young blood, for Electronic, the up-and-comer, to put the final nail in the coffin that they put FaZe into and then buried. That was the storyline, and Blade put them there. Blade was, the old man, the in-game leader, the guy with all the strats and all the tricks up his sleeve. Always stayed a step ahead in the first half, getting to that 11-round scoreline. That was the position that I think Blade, with all the work that they put in, because you could see how hard they drilled. I mean, if you just go back and look at some of the detail in the rounds there, and how well coordinated they were, you can really see how much work Flipside have been putting in to preparing for this major. It's so evident.
Yeah, man, that was Persian rug level detail, and Flipside very deserving of that victory. And don't let the comeback towards the late game distract you from how dominant that match was for Flipside. That was awesome, and they've got to be really happy with that. Blade, a happy chappy. He is pleased with that, but they've still got a long way to go, and it's a long way home for the FaZe Clan. There wasn't even 0-2 barbecue, no barbecue for them, just like tofu and maybe some cold and dry cocktail sausages for the FaZe team. That has to be highest expectation and worst outcome that I've seen in recent memory at a major.
Absolutely. If you consider the way that they were building in towards this major, it's really insane, isn't it? I think, as I mentioned during the game, so many people and rightly would have been expecting FaZe to be great contenders for a top 4, if not a grand finals finish. They've been looking amazing recently. So that group stage struggle, man. I mean, FaZe are a team that can peak, but if you don't get a chance to get through, to stay alive long enough in the tournament to peak, then that's a problem. And I've seen that really plague some teams in the past, and they fall victim to it this time around.
Yeah, I hope FaZe Clan don't really throw their TV in the pool. Sometimes you have a nightmare, but what is that thing from Batman? The night is darkest just before the dawn, so perhaps the sun will rise for FaZe Clan tomorrow. But for now, their tournament has come to an absolute end, a halt, a stop. Break's definitely on. Red Eye, what do you think of that one?
Well, that's not what we expected at all, was it? A team expected to go to at least the top 4, if not the grand final itself, have produced the biggest shock in the worst possible way. They've gone 0-3 on day 3 and have exited the PGL Major. We've got Sponge and Moses alongside. I'm sure they're also suspending belief in some way.
It's almost,
but also, the writing was kind of on the wall yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, coming into this with the way Flipside's played, with the way that FaZe has played, you have to say, like, this is this is an outcome that very well could have happened. The tough part of reconciling that kind of thought process is the history that FaZe has had over the past few months. This is very reminiscent of what Envy, when they won Cluj-Napoca and then came into Columbus and got knocked out as well in the group stages, didn't even make it to the playoffs. But this is tough, and FaZe just had no answer. This is where their disorganization really came to light, because flip side, a very organized team. The executes they were pulling off, beautiful stuff, using all their utility perfectly, and I mean, FaZe had no cohesion to kind of counteract that. You know, if you want to play passive and play retake on a bomb site, it doesn't work. If you're actually playing in the bomb site, someone's getting isolated by all that utility, and you have to say another really bad game from Kiyoshima. Again, I think he was under 40 ADR.
Yeah,
54.9.
Rain only had 10 kills as well, right?
Yeah,
so
bad game from everyone.
Let's just say it wasn't a great game across the board, other than Nico, who tried to get it done on his own there. But
tried to carry 27.
Yeah, he tried. Like, and at that point, he's just off the leash. He's doing what Simple was doing back when he was in Flipside, right?
I have to say though, these shots from Waylander in this game were absolutely insane.
Wasn't
he whiffed so hard on that first frag. The question mark on that pistol round is, Carrigan was the only guy in the bomb site. The rest of the guys have gone towards Van and the platform. What the hell are they doing? Why aren't they in the site with him? But then he recovers, he gets the kill and gets 4 for the round, which was sick. He had a huge performance. Building more on what Jason was saying, the tactical prowess of Blade, it was making me weak at the knees. You can see the way that these guys were using the strats and then faking off them later. They were so well drilled. And
this is another one.
Yeah, well, this with the crazy, triple AWPs in the round that they ended up picking up. I think, what did we say, 4 AWP kills and 1 Deagle kill in that round. So
yeah,
they were just looking really solid. And I have to harp on the strat side of things, because it's kind of bringing us back around. We're going full circle. If you can just have a couple of those strats and you can play off them as well as what Blade did and what he called, and it was amazing.
I mean, even the eco round, we're double or partial buy, winning the round with ending up with 3 AWPs in hand. I mean,
why not?
And the old Markelov argument of he can't AWP?
We don't need it to, but no.
you don't want to have that argument because you lose.
They set up a double op setup, and Markelov wasn't even one of the top 2 offers
and
of the team. So we're going away from
you said, well, that just proves the point. He can't AWP anymore. He's not going to AWP anymore.
He
picked up the AWP in that round and he got 3.
It's not that he physically cannot do it. It's that he does not want to. He has no desire to.
His role.
I'm trying to defend the faith here, Anders and Lurpis, but you're going to help me out a little bit on Twitter.
There's no saving them.
He got 3 AWP kills in the round and 4 for the round.
Detracting right now from what Flipside did, which was amazing.
It was amazing.
We don't want to talk
I'm not
about his
detracting
AWP
from that at
anymore.
all.
Well, I'm not talking. If I come on a desk segment and we talk about Markelov's AWP, I'm leaving. All right, that's done. We're not talking about that anymore.
Okay, someone that's not leaving us right now and is actually joining us from the player area is Blade, the in-game leader and captain for Flipside. Blade, thanks for joining us and congrats on a really big win. Just talk us through what you said to the guys at the end of the match.
At the end?
Yeah, what did you talk about? How happy were you?
At the end, it was amazing. We did it nice, guys. It was usual stuff. Okay. We were happy that we won. You're
always so calm. You must have been excited at the end of that match.
At the end, yeah, I was excited. Now it's a bit in deep emotions and thoughts. We're still 1 win and 2 losses. So it's
back
nothing.
To reality.
Yeah, back to reality.
Yeah,
we played 2 really bad CT halves, 2 past games, and we spoke a lot about that. That we need to be more active and not to give a lot of space for the opponent, and we tried to do it today on City side.
When you saw the draw last night and you knew the 4 teams that were in there with you, did you sort of have a feeling please don't give us FaZe, or was it actually a welcome thing?
Of course, it's better for us to play Vega or Penta, especially that we won Penta some official matches later. But it is what it is. We actually realized that we're facing FaZe, but still they are 0-2 record. So we knew that they're not in the best shape and that we can win them. And if we win them, we can still make it out of the groups.
Okay. I just want to talk to you about strategy. I mean, we all know you're so good at the strategy and working out what the team are going to do and how you're going to play. Just talk us through what you decided to do on that partial buy when you put 2 AWPs in and 3 pistols.
On City side, we would have we should do 2 ecos in a row, and we would give a lot of time to realize what to do for them, and a lot of confidence also, a little bit confidence also. We would give 2 rounds, and we would leave 4 or 5 rounds to win one of them. So we decided to force with AWP we knew that they're still a little bit nervous. I think a little bit like about that they are losing. They can't do like perfectly all their strats. We even saw that in some moments the executions was a little bit shaky. Timings. It was not like simultaneously like splits and so on and so on. So we wanted to finish it as soon as possible, not to give them the idea of comeback.
Okay, it's really good. Sponge, Moses, guys, got any questions?
I want to know what you guys do. Like, obviously, it's not downtime, right? But between the last major, you guys haven't really played a lot of events. You were in Leipzig. Leipzig was before
January.
Before the major.
Before the last major.
Yeah, but you had Mountain Dew League and stuff. Like, what is the regimen of training to keep the boys like kind of focused? Is it just focus on the major and hey, we'll ramp it up as we get closer, or?
Well, we started just to play a regular practice schedule, like not to be too exhausted, to become exhausted. And closer to the events, we started to speak more like we need to focus, to start playing more and practicing harder and working harder and so on and so on. And it was more about like mental stuff. We knew that without lands, it's really hard to show really like your game in the first match. So that's why we went to Adrenaline Rush, just to adapt a little bit to the LAN atmosphere. And it is what it is. We still like missing a lot of LAN experience, I think. That's why we play so bad on City Hall, because we're not confident on City side. We think that if we do like this move, it can be like too dangerous, and you're not confident that it will be effective and productive, and eventually we're doing nothing, like waiting for opponents to like split us or to execute us.
Okay, cool.
What I know when we've talked to you guys at the past, or we talked to you in the past at like the major qualifier and some of those matches, you talk specifically about how you know what your opponent is doing and you kind of know what's coming, and just wondering how much of your game plan. There's always that conversation of how effective anti-stratting is and is it worth it. How much of your game plan is centered around some weakness that you notice in an opponent in your opposition?
Well, every match basically we build it on how the opponent plays. So we basically like build it considering the game style, and basically it's a little bit anti-stratting, but it's not like we are doing like 4 nades to this guy. Yeah. We just know how they rotate, how they study their habits, and then I try to build the game plan before the match. Usually, if the opponent is pretty like easy to read, if it's really, easy to read the map Veto, then it's much easier. Today it was really hard to predict the Veto. We thought it would be Train or Mirage, but 2 previous matches we knew exactly what map we would play, and we built a perfect plan on T side, but we couldn't resist on City side. So, and also we have some weakness. We a little bit nervous on major always. And that's why on T side sometimes we forget something, some players, or because if they forget something, the strat like is ruining, and that's why we always sometimes can't, for example, plant the bomb or something like that. So it's most problem I think is the LAN experience, because if we would be more calm, I think our strats would work like much better.
Well, they worked very well today, Blade, and congratulations on a really big win. You are still in the major, still 2 more games away from a quarterfinal place.
Thank you.
Good luck tomorrow. There we go then. Blade, the in-game leader from Flipside. They do win today in amazing fashion against a team who were expecting to get to the top 4 and have failed to even get out of day 3. Let's check in with the scoreboard and talk about our MVP for this particular match. One highlight for FaZe, really, and that was Nico in that match. 27 kills for 18 deaths. He's
the only reason they got rounds on the CT side. I mean, outside of the pistol round, but those 3 at the end were all him. Like the most success they had was when action's happening on the other side of the map, and Nico's taking that advantage to get aggressive down A ramp, perhaps. And another round he had positioning in the smoke, and that's just because there's so much map control contained by Flipside that Nico knows he has to grab some of that, and once he started doing that, it's the only reason they build up rounds. But yeah, it really did feel like it's been the story of FaZe, right? Is that this kind of like one-man army type thing going on lately?
Yeah, which is not what they were expecting to happen.
Not
They
what
didn't expect to turn into Mao's top 2.0, did they? Let's take a look at our MVP as well for this particular match. Maybe it's not who you would have
better be
thought.
Waylander.
It's not.
Oh my
It's
lord.
Electronic.
Well, he was solid, right? So Waylander had
Yeah.
some really pivotal rounds that kind of, that second round with the Deagle, that was huge. And then
Yeah.
you had the pistol round on the CT side, which really got them off to a good stead. But this kid's just solid, right? Like, he just frags, does a lot of damage. He's always playing pretty smart in situational play. Like, he knows to play retake when he has to play retake. He's already, I guess, he's been trained well by Blade, I suppose, in how to react. And with that skill, it's being molded into a good player. And we've seen this time and time again from Blade doing this with guys.
But he's also got no fear either. We saw a couple of rounds where he just went, I'm just going to go in and shoot heads.
It's pretty incredible how composed he is in those scenarios. Like we saw it even at the major qualifier, and here he's winning that 1-on-2 to end the game. 6 kills in post plant situations. He's just playing really solid Counter-Strike, and he's got a very bright future in Counter-Strike ahead of him. It looks
absolutely has, and the right in-game leader alongside him as well, helping him on his way. Flipside have come through a very tricky tie against FaZe. We've lost 2 today. Next up, we'll move into the teams who are 1-1, so not departing the major just yet, but also still searching for a place in the quarterfinal. Next up, it's Mouse versus North.
Coming up next, Mouse